Howdy, friends. I want to tell you a story about a young man that we hired a few years ago. And this young man stopped by the ranch one day with his girlfriend and said he was looking for a ranch job. So I escorted him over to the ranch office and introduced him to the boss and left them to work it out. I wasn't too impressed with this young man, but after a little while, the boss came out and he said, I hired this young man and he'll be here at 7 o'clock in the morning to go to work. Well, morning rolled around. Sure enough, this boy showed up. But the first thing I noticed about him was he had a pair of bull riding spurs. Now, I'm not sold on this kid to begin with, and so that didn't help matters at all. It just so happened that we needed to gather a little bunch of cattle this morning, so I didn't do this on purpose, but then again, maybe I did. Anyway, I gathered up a couple of horses to use, and one of these horses is a horse we call Raymond. Now, I don't know where that name came from, but it fit him pretty good, so we just stuck with it. Now, there's a few things about old Raymond that you needed to know. And so I explained to this kid pretty well what Raymond expected. Anyway, whenever you brushing or saddling Raymond, you didn't want to take your hand off of him. You move from one side to the other, just keep a hand on him, because Raymond just needed to know where you was at all times. If you didn't, and then you touched him, he would go ballistic and blow up like a stick of dynamite. Now, once you got him saddled, he was fine. He could ranch horses you'd want. You gather cattle on him. You can rope cattle in the pasture. You can drag them on the trailer. He's just about as good as he can be. He's pretty awesome. But he got this one little minor issue of unexpected touch. Did I mention this kid was wearing bull riding spurs? Well, this kid got him saddled without a wreck. And I told him, I said, just take him out there at the arena and ride him around a little while, kind of get used to him. And so he did, and I went on back to saddling my horse. A little bit, I heard this kid hollering. And you know how when you get scared, your voice kind of, the pitch gets a little high. And so I could hear him hollering, whoa, whoa, and boy, he was just getting higher and higher with that pitch. He could have sang soprano in a church choir. Anyway, I looked out to see what was happening, and old Raymond was going down the arena about 9-0. And this kid was hollering, whoa, all the way. And old Raymond, he got to the end of that arena, and he ran out of real estate, so he hooked the left right quick. Well, this kid eat dirt. Well, I walked out there as this kid was getting up out of the dirt, and he says, that son of a gun bucked me off. And I'm like, no, not really. I said, you was looking for a place to get off, and he just helped you find it. Anyway, I said, you don't reckon them bull riding spurs had anything to do with that, do you? Kid looks at me and he says, you reckon I ought to take them off? I'm like, yeah, believe I would. Now there's a lesson in this story. Don't oversell yourself. Don't try to be someone or something that you're not. Nobody's born with all the cowboy skills. Now, it is possible that you can be born with a gene that, so to speak, sort of predestines you to be a cowboy, but you still got to learn all of those cowboy skills and ways. So, I never minded the greenhorn, and most seasoned cowboys don't. We all got to start somewhere, just like we did. But a cowboy's going to test you, so you might well be ready. We do like to have a little fun and see what a boy's made of and if he's got grit. Anyway, so if you come waltzing up with a pair of bull riding spurs on, you might just get tested right quick. This young man learned his lesson real quick. Don't oversell yourself. Now, I see a lot of Christian folks overselling themselves. They try to be something they're not. You know, it's easy to spot a fake. Your walk has got to line up with your talk. We just sinners saved by grace. I see a lot of Christian folks wearing bull riding spurs when they ain't even learned to ride a Shetland pony yet. What I mean is, they want to impress folks with their outward appearance. Like Jesus said, they want to be seen and heard in the synagogue, meaning they want to be noticed and heard at church, looking all pious and saying cliches to sound all saintly. Jesus ain't interested in what's on the outside. He looks on the inside of a man. We can't be anything except what we allow Jesus to make us. Romans 12:2-3 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by the testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. For by the grace given to me, I say to every one among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think with sober judgment, each according to the measure of faith that God has assigned." It says right there in the scripture, don't think more highly of yourself than you ought. Don't oversell yourself. When our grandson was in elementary school, he had to give a book report and dress up like the character in the book. Well, he chose Will Rogers, so he dressed up like a cowboy. Not long after that, we were going to a rodeo, and he says, "Wait just a minute. I got to go put on my cowboy costume." I think sometimes we need to take off our Christian costume and let Jesus transform us into who he desires us to be, and get more concerned with what he thinks of us instead of trying to impress others. Goodbye. God bless. Get off your high horse and ride for Jesus.